Welcome to Hockeywiztalks podcast. Today I'll be talking about NHL Free Agent signings, and I also update you on some trades. Before I talk about some Free Agent signings, I must first talk about some key trades. The two big trades this offseason were the PK Subban and Phil Kessel trades. The New Jersey Devils acquired PK Subban from the Nashville Predators for Steve Santini, Jeremy Davies, a second-round pick in 2019, and a second-round pick in 2020. The Devils really needed to improve their defense from last season, so they went out and did just that. Even though Subban can be a defensive liability at times, he is a game-changer from the back end, which is something the Devils haven't had in a decade. The Arizona Coyotes acquired Phil Kessel and Dane Burks from the Pittsburgh Penguins for Alex Galchenyuk and Pierre-Olivier Joseph. Say what you want about Phil Kessel, he is a star in the NHL, and he brings star power to the Coyotes. Kessel gives the Coyotes a box office attraction and a player they can build around. Another big trade was the Colorado Avalanche trading Tyson Barrie and Alex Kerfoot to the Toronto Maple Leafs for Nazem Kadri, Calle Rosen, and a third-round pick in 2020. This is not a good trade for Colorado because the Avalanche could have gotten more for Tyson Barrie. To make matters worse, they also gave up Alex Kerfoot in the deal, who still has some potential if used right. The fatal blow is that Colorado is also retaining 50% of Tyson Barrie's contract, which helps out the Toronto Maple Leafs cap situation. Other major trades this offseason. The Toronto Maple Leafs traded Patrick Marleau and a conditional first-round pick and a seventh-round pick in 2020 to the Carolina Hurricanes for a sixth-round pick in 2020. The Vancouver Canucks acquired JT Miller from the Tampa Bay Lightning for Marek Mazanik, pick 71, and conditional first-round pick in 2020. Chicago Blackhawks acquired Calvin DeHaan and Alexei Serala from the Carolina Hurricanes for Anton Forsberg and Gustav Forsling. The Arizona Coyotes acquired Carl Soderberg from the Colorado Avalanche for Kevin Connauton and a third-round pick in 2020. The Carolina Hurricanes acquired Eric Haula from the Vegas Golden Knights for Nikolai Waugh and a conditional fifth-round pick in 2021. Colorado Avalanche acquired Andrei Burakovsky from the Washington Capitals for a second-round pick in 2020 and a third-round pick in 2020, and Scott Kosmachuk. Buffalo Sabres acquired Colin Miller from the Vegas Golden Knights for a second-round pick in 2021 and a fifth-round pick in 2022. Carolina Hurricanes acquired James Reimer from the Florida Panthers for Scott Darling and a sixth-round pick in 2022. Chicago Blackhawks acquired Andrew Shaw and a seventh-round pick in 2021 from the Montreal Canadiens for a second-round pick in 2020 and a seventh-round pick in 2021. Ottawa Senators acquired Nikita Zaitsev, Connor Brown, and Michael Caron from the Toronto Maple Leafs for Cody Ceci, Ben Harper, Aaron Luchuk, and a third-round pick in 2020. The Buffalo Sabres acquired Jimmy Vesey from the New York Rangers for a third-round pick in 2021. And now a word from our sponsor. Major free agent signings. The New York Rangers signed Artemi Panarin to a 7-year deal worth $11.6 million per season. Artemi Panarin is a difference maker on offense, and the Rangers were in desperate need of an elite offensive talent. However, does Panarin really deserve to be the second highest paid player in the NHL? Panarin will put up about 80 points a season, but a player making $11.6 million per season should put up 100 points a season. The Florida Panthers signed Sergei Bobrovsky to a 7-year deal worth $10 million per season. Sergei Bobrovsky immediately makes the Florida Panthers a threat in the Atlantic Division. He is arguably the best goalie in the league right now and will make the Panthers a tough team to play against. Bobrovsky is definitely worth $10 million per season right now. However, he won't be in 6 or 7 seasons. The Nashville Predators signed Matt Duchene to a 7-year deal worth $8 million per season. Matt Duchene makes the Nashville Predators a contender to win the Stanley Cup. Duchene will most likely be the Predators' second-line center and would give them more offensive firepower. This is a solid contract considering Kevin Hayes was signed to a 7-year deal at $7.14 million per season. The New York Islanders re-signed Anders Lee to a 7-year deal at $7 million per season. Anders Lee is a great power forward and a consistent goal scorer in the NHL, but this is not a good contract. With the amount of beating he takes in front of the net, his body will soon start to break down when he is 33-34. Unfortunately for the Islanders, the reality is they have to overpay players to stay because they aren't a desirable destination. The Dallas Stars signed Joe Pavelski to a 3-year deal at $7 million per season. Initially, this was a bit of a shock to me because I thought Joe Pavelski would stay with the San Jose Sharks, but now I think Pavelski would actually be a great fit with the Dallas Stars. The addition of Pavelski to the Stars would make their power play very lethal, as if their power play wasn't deadly enough. I think this is actually the best signing of the day because Pavelski is still an elite goal scorer in the league and is getting paid $2 million less than Jeff Skinner. The Vancouver Canucks signed Tyler Myers to a 5-year deal deal at $6 million per season. The addition of Tyler Myers to the Canucks gives them a respectable top 4. This is not a very good contract for the Canucks because Myers is very soft and very streaky. Unfortunately, the Canucks didn't really have any other options in free agency because Myers was already one of the better defensemen available. The Minnesota Wild signed Matt Zuccarello to a 5-year deal at $6 million per season. The Minnesota Wild signed Matt Zuccarello to a 5-year deal worth $6 million per season. Matt Zuccarello has been one of the most underrated and underpaid players in the league for a while, so it's great he's finally getting paid. Zuccarello immediately makes the Wild's second line better, and he will also improve the power play. The New Jersey Devils signed Wayne Simmons to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. Wayne Simmons had a down year last year, but prior to last season, he was one of the most productive power forwards on the power play. The Devils' power play will be pretty lethal next year. This is a low-risk signing by the Devils because this signing gets them to the cap floor, and even if it doesn't work out, it's only for 1 year. The Chicago Blackhawks signed Robin Lehner to a 1-year deal worth $5 million. Robin Lehner was a finalist for the Vezina Trophy last year and was swooped up by the Chicago Blackhawks for a steal of a contract. The Blackhawks defense is much improved from last season, and the tandem of Lehner and Crawford makes the Blackhawks a legit team in the Central again. The Columbus Blue Jackets signed Gustav Nyquist to a 4-year deal worth $5.5 million per season. The Columbus Blue Jackets went from being a tough team to play against to possibly the weakest team in the Metro Division. Nyquist is a nice complementary player, but he's not a difference maker. The Blue Jackets had to make some moves to make up for the loss of Duchesne and Panarin, so this is sort of a consolation prize, but not really. The Florida Panthers signed Anton Strawman to a 3-year deal worth $5.5 million per season. Anton Strawman is still a great defensive defenseman at this stage of his career, and he will bring a stabilizing presence to the Florida Panthers blue line. Even though he's a bit overpaid, it had to be done because the Panthers really needed a veteran defenseman. The New York Islanders signed Semyon Varlamov to a 4-year deal worth $5 million per season. The Islanders made a huge mistake here signing Varlamov to a 4-year deal. At this point in his career, Varlamov has been proven to be an inconsistent goalie, and to sign him to a 4-year deal at $5 million per season is just not a smart move. Carolina Hurricanes re-signed Peter Mrazek to a 2-year deal worth $3.25 million per season. Peter Mrazek is a good fit with the Carolina Hurricanes, and this is a really good deal for a goalie who was a starter last season. Tandeming with James Reimer, Mrazek should get the majority of the starts for Carolina this season. Other key free agent signings. The Colorado Avalanche signed Jonas Donskoy to a 4-year deal at $3.9 million per season and re-signed Colin Wilson to a 1-year deal. Adding Donskoy gives them some depth at right wing, and he will most likely play on their second or third line. The Dallas Stars also added Corey Perry, Andrej Sekera, and Ryan Hartman in free agency. These are 3 low-risk signings that could end up being the reason why the Dallas Stars make a deep playoff run. Corey Perry is a shell of the former player he used to be. But he is a steal for $1.5 million. Perry can still be a productive player, playing on the line with Joe Pavelski and Roope Hintz. Andrej Sekera will bolster the depth on defense, and Ryan Hartman gives him some grit up front. The Edmonton Oilers signed Mike Smith to a 1-year deal at $2 million and re-signed Alex Chiasson to a 2-year deal. Marcus Granlund was also brought in on a 1-year deal. Mike Smith gives the Oilers a good veteran goalie to tandem with Mikko Koskinen, and Marcus Granlund still has some potential, so he could be a valuable role player for the Oilers. The Washington Capitals signed Richard Panik and Garnet Hathaway to 4-year deals. The Capitals basically replaced Burakovsky and Connolly with Panik and Hathaway. Surprisingly, I think Panik and Hathaway are an upgrade over Burakovsky and Connolly, because Hathaway is an upgrade over Burakovsky. Unlike Burakovsky, Hathaway will make his presence felt on the ice every time. The Pittsburgh Penguins signed Brandon Tanev to a 6-year deal worth $3.5 million per season. Brandon Tanev is a good third-line player with speed and will improve the depth for the Penguins. However, the Penguins already have enough players similar to Tanev, so I'm not sure where he fits in the lineup. This might turn into a bad contract if he fails to find a spot in the lineup. The Florida Panthers signed Brett Connolly to a 4-year deal worth $3.25 million per season. Brett Connolly is going to be a great fit with the Florida Panthers, who already have a skilled group of forwards. Connolly is a good role player who adds speed and some occasional offense to the lineup. I think this is a slight overpayment, but everyone in free agency is overpaid now. The Detroit Red Wings signed Valtteri Filppula to a 2-year deal worth $3 million per season. Even at 35, Valtteri Filppula is still a good third-line center. This is a solid signing, but it doesn't make the Red Wings significantly better. The Calgary Flames signed Cam Talbot to a 1-year deal worth $2.75 million. Cam Talbot will tandem with David Rittich this season and should have a better season than last year now that he has a better defense in front of him. This is a low-risk, high-reward signing. The Toronto Maple Leafs signed Jason Spezza to a 1-year deal. Jason Spezza gives the Maple Leafs some leadership, playoff experience, and a great third or fourth line center. This might be one of the better signings of the day. On my next podcast, I'll be talking about restricted free agent signings and arbitration.